Welcome everyone to the runners-up round for the LeMans SCD Michelin Championship. Today competing are the people that were not in the top 6 of the last 2 rounds at Goodwood. They'll be competing in this runners-up race in GR3 cars around the fantastic Le Mans circuit. We've got a 12 lap race for you today. As you can see, it's a nice late afternoon, a bit of low sunshine. We have 7 competitors, all in GT cars. The AMG GT seems to be quite a big favourite on this round. Seems to be quite fast at Le Mans, although throughout the course of the past week people have been practicing, experimenting with different cars, and everyone's been making their own decisions to see what really handles the Mulsanne straight the best. We've got the Nissan GTR here, driven by Paul. That thing seems to be quite dominant on the straight. Nice SCD livery going on there. And also the Jag seems to be again quick in a straight line over the AMG, but not quite as good on fuel, so I think we'll see a split in when people decide to pit today. All the cars are running Michelin tyres, and as part of the rules they will be forced to use both softs and medium race tyres today in this race. So qualifying has just begun, so let's see who starts posting the quick times. Hope everybody's well today. Thanks for joining us again for another round. To have got, oh no, it's alright, that's my car that's still stuck in the pits, of course. It's quite confusing. So it looks like the car of Golgatha is going to make the first lap. Let's see whereabouts he puts the benchmark time for everybody. We are running penalties today, so if there is any track cutting then people will have time added on. They will be forced to make that time back up, or it will be removed from their timings at the end. So if it's close but someone's running a penalty, then it's quite possible that in the final results people will be leapfrogged. So everybody's just done an out lap, of course, so at 4:20 on out laps. Here comes the first fast lap. everyone should still be able to make it over the line and then set another flying lap after this one. Seems to have made a break for it out at the front. This qualifying session seems to be turning into a little race of its own. Normally a little bit of clear air is good on a qualifying session, but it would appear that people are using that toe down the straights to pick up on their times, pick up some speed. Everyone's cleanly through there. Penalty on this one. That'll be deducted from his lap. There goes the Mercedes. Looking at this little group that's out in qualifying, it's going to be quite an interesting race. If we're battling like this for the next 12 laps once the race has started, then that'll definitely give me something to talk about. Chris in the other AMG back here, enjoying a nice bit of clean air on the circuit. Unlike this little group. Ooh, Porsche runs slightly wide. Oh, that's messed that lap up. G runs wide again. Be interesting to see the outcome of this race. As I mentioned before, a lot of people have been choosing the AMG, as you can see. It's quite a popular car. But where will it actually finish on the race? Some GTR coming round. He'll be the first to post his fast lap, and then he'll have one more chance to put in another one. Quite a short qualifying session today. He starts slightly late. Paul goes quickest. No, the AMG of Isaac Hunt is the car to post the quickest time so far. Paul in second. Nethers just another 7/10, 1.5 seconds off the lead. Golgatha another 3 seconds behind. That's probably down to running wide. Posting a nice time. The Jag further back than I expected. Ben bringing up the rear. Oh, it looks like he's had quite an off at some point in this race. Oh, loses it. Nicely kept. Probably will get a penalty for that. There would have been time for another lap. I think Ben's just called it at that one. Chris posts his fastest first sector. But fastest first sector for everyone, actually. 1 Golgath are going to be able to improve. Seems to have caught that pack up again. He's already taken half a second out of his own sector time. I'm sure he'll be able to improve. Coming up to the last few corners. Paul improves on his time. He's 1.2 seconds. Golgatha also improves on his time. He's just 0.5 behind. A few changes. Raucus and Chris both vastly improve on their time. Raucus taking pole by an astounding 4 seconds. He's had a fantastic lap. Maybe that clean air at the back was what he needed. That certainly worked out for him. So we have Raucus Drifter in pole, Chris in second, Paul in the GTR in third. Then got Golgatha in the AMG in fourth, another orange AMG in fifth, the Porsche taking up sixth with Nethers, and Ben, he's on his final lap. Can he improve? And he stays 8th. On to the next round. Just the last few seconds. Oh, that's waiting for me. So we're going into the final round in the next few seconds. The runners-up race. Here we are then, the start of the runners-up race at Le Mans. Raucus Drifter in pole in the F-Type Jag. It's all going to be down to that first corner. And they're off from a standing start. That GTR is not good off the line. He's lost a lot of places there. Raucus Drifter gets shoved out. And it's Chris in the AMG who's first into turn one. A little bit of contact there. Raucus Drifter being punted out to the side. Raucous drifting now from pole to last place. Leathers also seems to have dropped back at some point, must have had an off. He's in the slipstream of the other Porsche, Ben. And he's diving down the right hand side. Neck and neck all the way down the Mulsanne. That first chicane, oh, it's close. Ooh. I think there might have been a little bit of contact there. The Jags catching up with that Porsche. This is where the GTR does come good after that poor start. Catching up on the main straights. And we've got a battle for first position. The two AMG GTRs of Isaac Hunt and Chris. Side by side. Oh, Chris runs wide. That lets the other orange AMG through. And that slowed him down, allowing Paul in the GTR to catch up. He's looking at the back of Chris. That Nissan GTR is especially quick on these straights. Getting a bit of a tow, he's playing it safe, keeping back. Oh, and Chris outbrakes himself. That's possibly going to be a racing incident. I'm sure that'll be watched back afterwards by the stewards. This has allowed Isaac in the other orange AMG GTR to get ahead. Also, Paul's now up to second. This will be interesting as he's catching up on those straights. If he can keep with him through the next complex. Ooh, a bit of a slide there from the GTR. Golgotha running wide again. Going to be no love lost between these two after that racing incident into Arnage. Leathers in the Porsche. He's definitely catching. He's just 4 seconds away from the back of Chris's AMG. Raucous drifter closely behind, keeping up with that Porsche, and no doubt trying to get back near that front. Quite a bit of damage on the front of the Jag, looking lovely in blue. Chris must have had another off. Both cars now on him. The Porsche's round. Is the Jag going to follow? And they've both outbraked themselves into turn 1. Got a 3-way battle now for 4th. AMG seems to have stayed out front. But he's got that Jag all over him, and that Jag is quick on the straights. Raucous Drifters just set the fastest first sector of this race so far. He's in the slipstream. It's out to the right. Is he going to make it past? Quite comfortably. Porsche catching up, having a look as well. But that does allow the AMG to catch back up. They're going to go side by side into this next corner. Oh, and Chris outbrakes himself again. Runs wide. Is that going to give the Porsche a chance to catch up? It does. He's in the slipstream. Surely going to make it past here. Coming up to the Michelin chicane. Neck and neck. No. AMG goes in, brakes late. It's twitchy, runs wide. This is the race for first. Got the AMG of Isaac Hunt chasing that GTR down the straights of Paul. Coming into Indianapolis. Oh, so close. Can he do him on the inside? Neck and neck into Arnage. Isaac now takes the lead, but he loses it on the exit. Will that have slowed him down? Paul staying in that tow. And he's out. Coming into the Porsche curves. Both ghosting for some reason. Looking back. Seems to have dropped back slightly. And it looks like Raucous Drifter might have had another incident. He's dropped back behind Nethers. They were all battling with Chris at one point for fourth. Looks like there's a little bit more damage on the front of that car. Ben finding that Porsche a bit skittish. He's had an off on the exit. Nethers catching up with the AMG of Chris again. Back out at the front. Paul seems to have pulled away from the orange AMG. The car that was the favourite to win the race is actually dropping back. The benefit being down to the fuel usage. Everyone will have... Ooh! Paul nearly loses it on the exit. Seems to be coming slightly more spread out here. Golgotha seems slightly unbothered at the minute. Nice bit of clear air in front and behind. Chris is slowly catching him in the other AMG. It was only just a second in front of Nethers in the Porsche RSR. Interesting that Nether's here in the Porsche rather than choosing an AMG GT. Went for the Porsche despite actually owning an AMG GT. Interesting choice. But it's been very, very competitive this week as people have been trying different cars, different strategies. Getting a bit heated at times. Raucous Drifter, he's been sticking with his roots. Actually owning an F-Type Jag as his supercar. Keeping with that for the race as well. As he brakes hard into Indianapolis. Another race forming here. We've got two MG GTRs. We've got Chris and Golgatha. If you remember, they had a coming together earlier as they both came into the end of the Mulsanne straight a little bit hot. One taking the other off. And breaking them off from the lead pair. Chris seems to have got past Golgatha and pulling away. Is this anything to do with strategy? Has Golgatha decided to turn his fuel down so he can eke out an extra lap on those soft tyres? Seems to have backed off the pace somewhat. Nether seems to be catching him now in the Porsche. Golgatha here, not quite so used to competing online in supercars. Apparently was Super Mario Kart champion back in his time. But we all have to grow up and buy some proper supercars instead. Jag's now catching him with Raucous Drifter. This is going to be turning into another battle very soon. Golgatha seems to have really dropped off the pace in these past few laps. Also picking up a penalty. And he's passed Raucous Drifter. Made it past as they're coming into the PlayStation chicane. Nether's in the Porsche now, catching up. He can smell the back of that AMG GTR. And he wants to get past it. Of these slow down penalties, possible a lot of them might take them when they go into the pits. Feel the back of that toe. Oh, and there's contact as Golgatha sneaks round the outside. Raucous Drifter in the F-Type has kept it. These two battling is surely going to allow Nethers in the Porsche to catch up. It's really close. Who dare break last? Jag seems to be able to carry just that little bit more speed into Indianapolis. Pushing off that speed into Onage. Oh, Raucous Drifter runs wide in the Jag. We've got another battle now. We've got Chris, who's just taken Isaac Hunt. The orange Mercedes seemed to be slowing down for some reason through this race, and set some pretty quick times to start with. We've got 3 MGs all battling for second place. Meanwhile, that's allowed Paul to eke out a 10-second lead. He's surely going to be starting to take it a bit more comfortably. As these two battle, 2 orange Mercedes. Into the Ford chicane. Getting a little bit out of shape. Ooh, ghosting can cause some issues. Side by side down the start-finish straight. That Porsche's just hanging back. He's waiting for them to have it off. Waiting for someone to make a mistake and take advantage. Chris seems to have really picked up the pace. Nearly half distance into this race. He's pulling away from this battle now. Got the 2 orange Mercedes of Isaac and Golgotha. Raucous Drifter, oh! Nudges the front of that Mercedes as it comes back onto the track after getting out of shape. He's managed to get in front. That straight line speed of the Jag might just be what he needs right now. This is really, really tight. This could be anybody's race for second. Drifter now pulling away. Chris in the other AMG's pulled out a nice comfortable 2-second lead over Raucous Drifter, but that lead is coming down on the straights. This group seems to be so well matched. Nearly half race distance and they are all neck and neck. Jag still pulling away, chasing after Chris. 2 MGs, and the Porsche is now caught up with this little orange duo. He's no doubt going to take advantage. Raucous Drifter seems to get it slightly wrong. He's dropped back again, allowing one of the Mercedes to take back a place from him. And the Porsche is now through. Isaac losing 2 spaces. Raucous Drifter in the Jag no doubt wants to get back past Golgotha in the other orange Mercedes. Porsche seems to have dropped back again. And Chris had an incident. He seems to have dropped back. He'd got a nice comfortable nearly 2-second lead. He must have made a mistake. We've now got a 5-car battle for second. 2 AMGs, and there was contact there going in. This is shaping up to be a fantastic race. another 2 laps, and we'll probably be seeing some of these cars coming in. The Jag is especially thirsty, I would expect that, and the Porsche to pit first. The AMG should carry on for another lap. 2 orange Mercedes battling it out again. It's a good job they went for the same paint colour, because they keep swapping it. Everyone keeping it neat and tidy through turn 1. S's. Raucous Drifter keeping it tight behind Chris into Tech Rouge. And the Jags having another look up the inside of Chris, making that space back up for second. See Paul in the distance. Still got a nice comfortable short 10-second lead. And that AMG dives in under braking, left it so late. These two are now battling it out, AMG and Porsche. Golgatha and the other orange Mercedes seems to have dropped back. Chris looks up the inside into the Michelin chicane, plays it safe. Raucous Drifter run slightly wide, may have slowed him down on the exit. Chris is in that slipstream though. Using the toe of that big Jag. The Porsche is having a look. He's diving out. Oh, and there's contact. Raucous Drifter has lost it, or may have had contact with Chris on the way into Mulsanne, and has lost out. This has given Chris a bit of clean air. He currently holds the fastest lap of this race. Can he work at bringing that lead down that Paul has out front? Just over 9.5 seconds out front. Enjoying a nice comfortable race. Keeping it as incident free as possible. Seems to be maintaining his lead. Looking quite comfortable. Keeping it tidy through the Porsche curbs. Not running wide in Maison Blanc. Chris is now holding a 2-second penalty, and it'll be even more as he runs wide in Maison Blanc. Clean it out again. We've got... Ooh, he's on the grass in the Jag. To the Ford chicanes. Isaac coming out on top. Starting lap 7. This is where we're likely to see some cars looking to pit. This is where Raucous Drifter in the Jag needs to make the most of this lap, and he's just run wide, allowing Nethers in the Porsche to overtake him around the outside of the Dunlop curve. Walkers really needs to put in a quick time, make the most of those softs before switching on to the Michelin mediums. Mediums seem to affect the different cars in different ways. The AMGs can become quite skittish on the mediums. That may be its only drawback. But they will get an extra lap. And he's straight through the middle. The power on that Jag on the straights just takes him straight through the middle of that battle. Isaac outbrakes himself into the PlayStation chicane and allows Nethers through in the Porsche. But for some reason, I'm not quite sure what happened there. I didn't quite see that. This makes no sense. Somehow Raucous Drifters ended up at the back of that pair again after coming straight through the middle of them. It must have outbraked them too late. Seems to have also got a 2-second penalty. Now there's an Isaac Hunt side by side again through the Mulsanne kink. Nethers now up to third, but he runs wide. AMG takes him on the inside. Neck and neck again. Who's going to be first into Indianapolis? Getting lost then, I thought we were coming up to the Porsche curves. Jag following behind, no doubt looking to pull another manoeuvre through the middle. It's a 5-second penalty for the Porsche, track limits. That Porsche does sound nice under acceleration. Lovely tone to that flat 6. Raucous Drifter in the Jag, bringing that 1.8 second gap down. Chris enjoying a little bit of clean air again. While these three still battling out for third place. Porsche's keeping it tight. And Chris has lost it. He's off the circuit. Lost it on the exit of Maison Blanc and gives in. Raucous Drifting now into the pits in the Jag. He seems to be first to pit. Chris Preston also in the AMG. Onto the mediums. And it takes so long waiting for that fuel to go in. Will this give Chris the chance to catch up? That AMG didn't need as much fuel and he's straight back out. He's actually leapfrogged Raucous Drifter with a quicker pit stop. That AMG is so good on fuel, and that seems to be something that takes forever. You're sat there, you're waiting, ready to cancel that fuel as soon as you have enough to make sure you get to the end of the race. These two are still battling it out. This might come down to pit stops. I dare say the AMG will come out on top, as it will need that little bit less fuel. unless Nethers has been able to eke out any better fuel economy. I'm surprised he's not pitted yet. Maybe that Porsche is running a leaner mixture. Paul has now extended his lead nearly 20 seconds, comfortably out front, while these two are just battling it out. Just had a little bit of information. Paul is actually running lean. He's running at 2/3 in that GTR because he's enjoying this clear circuit, keeping a nice clean race, no issues. Let's see how many laps he can eke out of that GTR. If he can stay on them softs, I dare say he'll be able to pull out a bigger lead. It has dropped slightly. He runs slightly wide out of Arnage. Will he pit in this lap? Nethers and Isaac still battling it out. Oh! Isaac runs wide. He's got a nice comfortable gap. Raucous Drifter is making up for that place. As I mentioned before, the AMG seems to be slightly skittish on these mediums. The Jag's looking quite planted. Oh, shouldn't have said that. He runs wide in Arnage, and Chris is back in front. And Paul is into the pits. Nethers in the Porsche also be pitting on this lap. He is. He's managed to eke out a 6.5 second lead. So the fuel economy on that AMG. Ben at the back here running slightly wide in the PlayStation chicane. Paul's already out of the pits. Porsche getting its fresh set of rubber. How long is this stop going to take, and is it going to cost him? Chris has now retaken second, so he must have been setting some blisteringly quick laps on his out lap. Isaac just coming out of the pits now. Raucous Drifter back up to fourth. So the Porsche did make it out into second. It didn't need as much fuel as I thought it would. And he's going to now see if he can bring down that lead that Paul has in the GTR. Coming down slowly. If he's running a leaner fuel mixture, that will be costing him time. He's got just 3.5 laps remaining. Just heard that the orange AMG of Isaac Hunt was actually running mediums to begin with, so he's now on softs. So will this see him come good in the second part of the race? Chris has lost a little bit of ground to the Jag of Raucous Drifter. So midway through the race, the fuel economy of the AMG does not seem to be working in anybody's favour in this contact. Isaac Hunt nudges Chris into the Michelin chicane, shoving him out wide. Ben running his own race in the stealthy looking 911 at the back. There's a fair bit of battle damage on that car. Nearly came into the pits again. Someone else enjoying a bit of clean air time is Paul in the Nissan GTR. Paul opting for a totally different car to his actual supercars, usually having the choice between a 991 GT3 or a stunningly beautiful 488 GTB, which we've seen regularly on drives. Wonder if this will persuade him to maybe buy a GTR track car. Seems to be doing a fantastic job in this one. Now they're still holding up second. Slightly brought down that lead, and he runs wide. Jag keeping with him. That's a 0.5 second penalty he will have to take. If he doesn't, it will be added on to his time, and currently, if they finish where they are, that would actually cost him his place at just 4/10. Raucous running wide. Another moment under the Dunlop Bridge. Cars do seem to be a little bit more spaced out now. Chris having dropped back drastically in the past few laps. Was holding second position for quite some time, and did especially well through that pit stop. Could have maybe eked it out for another lap, but chose to pit at the same time and leapfrog the Jag. Just to the point two of a slowdown penalty for Nethers in the Porsche. Nethers in the Porsche claiming when he left school a gas fire had more certificates than he did. However, that's not stopped him being successful and buying an AMG GTS. Quite possibly soon to be a Porsche. Sideways for that Jag. Quite skittish. Now it's on the mediums. The MGs seem to have got used to the mediums and That seems to be costing them some lap times. Raucous Drifter now having set the fastest lap of the race in the Jag. Making a difference for him to compete in car racing. Usually competes in the World Worm Charming Championships. Try saying that with a mouthful. Will he be able to worm his way through the Porsche curves and past that Porsche? Certainly taking a big chunk of time out of him again on this lap. Not exactly gone to town with his livery. Let's face it, that is one hell of a half-arsed job. Normally a McLaren driver. Drives a 720S. Based in South London, so he's probably not used to some nice open roads like this. He has competed plenty doing some club racing, but you'll usually find him at the back and broken down. Not today though, he's holding 4th place in his AMG with his half-arsed paint job. Chris seems to be dropping back slightly. Not enjoying these medium tyres. Running a lovely livery in this AMG, thanks to the NHS. Some nice. Ooh, wow! Well, I'm guessing that's going to cost him a penalty. Completely missed out the PlayStation chicane then. Currently nothing showing. Things seemingly settled down at the front. Raucous Drifter having made it through into 2nd, holding the place. Look at the brakes glowing into Mulsanne. Paul's lead coming down now to 11 seconds. It's possible he's kept that fuel mixture low, or he's just simply playing it safe. Running a brilliant race out front. Oh! Up until then, he's just outbraked himself and on the gravel in Arnage. That's cost him dearly. Raucous Drifter in the Jag. He can now see the back of that GTR, and he's got 2 laps to try and get past. Make that 1 1/4. But he's got the Porsche all over the back of him as he comes into the Porsche curves. Just had word that Paul is actually running low on fuel as he runs wide into Maison Blanc. And he's picked up a 0.4 second penalty for that. That lead has come down from 20 seconds to just 1.6. This could be a very exciting finish, as Paul is struggling for fuel in that GTR. Did he underfuel it halfway? The Jag Raucous Drifter now going round the outside into turn 1. Paul turns in too early, he's over the gravel. I can't believe so late on in the race we're on the final lap. Paul loses his lead to Raucous Drifter in the Jag. The the GTR. Paul, what's happened with Paul? He's just lost it in the gravel. On the start of the last lap, he's gone from holding a fantastic lead to 4th place. He must be kicking himself if this is down to low fueling. Sandy, his wife, will be going absolutely mad at Paul. Usually very vocal on the radios when we're out on a drive on tours. Usually good at spotting wildlife. Right now, there's only one thing she'll be saying, and it's probably something that I can't say to you right now. The battle for what was 3rd is now a battle for 2nd. As Nethers approaches, no, he's not going to risk it, and he runs wide instead. Is this going to give Paul the chance to make up some of that gap? I think Paul is running especially lean. He needs to make it to the end of that race. What an exciting last lap this has been to a 12-lap race at Le Mans. The finalists tomorrow have got a lot to live up to. Up to a 1.8 second penalty now for Isaac Hunt. And Nethers in the Porsche. Not quite close enough to take advantage of that. And here is your new race leader, Raucous Drifter, otherwise known as Jonesy, in the F-Type Jag. Having had such a poor start to the race, being shunted off at turn 1, he's then made one hell of a comeback. And he's now pulling out a 5.5 second lead, having taken the lead on the very last lap of this race. I think Paul will be hiding after this race from his wife. Sandy will not be happy. Raucous Drifter coming in to the Ford chicane. Last few corners. What a fantastic race this has been for Jonesy, otherwise known as Raucous Drifter, in the Jag. He takes the win. He set the fastest lap, had a poor start. Isaac taking up 2nd place, and Nethers coming across the line, 3rd in the Porsche. Paul across the line in 4th. wondering where it all went wrong on that last lap. He must be very, very disappointed after putting such a strong performance this entire race. Chris taking up 5th. Well done to Raucous Drifter, winner of the SCD Michelin runners-up race here at Le Mans. We do have the final coming up tomorrow at the same time. We have a few more cars in that one. We've got the top 6 from the previous 2 rounds at Goodwood competing against racing driver Oliver Webb and YouTuber Paul Wallace for this final race here at Le Mans. We hope you've enjoyed this one as much as we have. What an exciting race, the end of which was just off the scale of how badly it can go on the last lap. Thank you very much for joining us, and I hope that we'll catch up with you all tomorrow for the finals race here at Le Mans.